There's another shared service which is being progressed by SASRA, the regulator, called Sacco Central. You see, this is one way for us to bring on speed our cooperatives to start utilizing ICT services. So instead of one SACCO or one cooperative spending 100 million to buy your own system, we are saying now, here is a bigger system, come together, you join in and utilize it. It's just like the highway. We have the expressway. Instead of you building your own highway, let us come together, build a big highway, and utilize it. We are already on that space. We are already in that space. Yeah.
And so even with the growth of ICT, definitely it comes with the downsides, risks of cybercrime.
Yes.
And you know, I was going through the cybercrime report, which is released annually by Serianu, which is an IT risk-based company, and they were talking about you know, that Kenya is losing about 40 billion shillings to cyber criminals every year, and SACCOs are some of the prime targets because they have employed weak governance IT systems. So as the Cooperatives Alliance of Kenya, how are you working with SACCOs to help them to upscale their IT systems?
Thank you very much. The reason, one of the biggest reasons why we are now we want to move into shared services is because for you to attract and maintain the top ICT cyber security staff is very costly. To employ the kind of firewalls and technologies that you need to deploy so that you can be able to detect the cyber crime penetration into a system is extremely expensive. And for that reason, we have come together so that we can be able to build a very strong, progressively system that can be able to protect our data and our resources. It is our number one priority. It's our concern, and it's now our number one priority. We have partnered with the world top security companies in providing these shared services. It's number one system.
Which company is this?
We have many companies from UK and from Australia that we are working with.
That you're working with?
Yeah.
So have you seen any impact yet of your collaboration with those companies?
Yes, we have already done our local testing. We have done what we call ethical testing to make sure that penetration, to make sure that our systems are safe and secure. We have even exposed our CopTech system to banks, our friendly banks, to give us their top technology people to do penetration testing and checking on our securities, and we are extremely excited that we are now ready to roll the system to our members.
And I don't know whether cooperatives have embraced the concept of hackathons, whereby you invite hackers from learning institutions, from IT companies, to try and penetrate your systems so that you can map out vulnerable points. I don't know whether this is a concept that's
exactly what I mean by penetration testing. Yeah, we give ethical hackers to come and tell us where our weaknesses are and which areas we need to improve, and that has been done for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it is proving to be successful.
It's very successful.
Very good. Now let's discuss something small about the upcoming Cooperatives Day. What should we look forward for on that day?
Yeah, worldwide, on Saturday, the 1st of July, the world will be celebrating the International Day of Cooperatives. And remember, UN also recognized cooperatives as a model that has a great impact on the members and the societies and their communities. So on Saturday in Kenya, we will be having our event at International KICC of KCC grounds. 7 o'clock in the morning, we will be having a walk, a march from KPCU to KICC. We will be expecting all our members to be seated by 8 o'clock.
Yes. How many members are you looking
We
at?
are expecting about 17 to 20,000 people coming to KICC on Saturday morning. We will be having an exhibition from different sectors, from housing, financial, dairy, coffee. We will be having an exhibition out there. We welcome the public to come and see the achievements that we have made as cooperatives. Our chief guest will be coming in by 8:15. So by 8 o'clock, I welcome all the members from different cooperatives, and anybody who has never made his mind to join a SACCO or a cooperative to come and witness the great achievements you will make by joining one of them. So we will have a procession in the morning at 7 o'clock from KBCU to KICC. There will be a huge exhibition by many SACCOs and cooperatives from different sectors, and then we will be seated by 8 o'clock. By 8 o'clock we'll be ready. We will start our event from 8 o'clock in the morning.
8 o'clock in the morning.
8 o'clock in the morning. Our chief guest is expected to be there before 8:30.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, you're watching this conversation live from Broadcasting House. We've been talking to Daniel Marube. He's the chairman of Cooperatives Alliance of Kenya, joining us this morning to help us understand where the cooperative movement is, the challenges and the prospects going forward, even as we celebrate the World Cooperative Day, which is happening at the Kenyatta International Convention Center. We are taking a short break, and thereafter we'll be back so that we wind up with on this topic, and thereafter we shall be having a conversation around counterfeits. Stay right here.
Umesikiaje? Umesikia nimesema nini?
Sielewi Kiswahili sana, siongea Kiswahili sana.
Unaongea lugha gani?
Sio ya uongo mbembe face.
Ni
kweli wa mambo. Hiyo ndio ndiru.
Sasa unamuita mbembe face, huyu ni baby face.
Ni mbembe face.
Huyu mtu mzee hata uso imekunjana ni baby face.
So me and that guy who is criminal.
Yote
Wewe mtu akikukosea utafanya namna gani?
Njia yao ni fupi sana.
Kila mtu ujue atapepa mzigo
wake mwenyewe.
Na
kila mtu atauchukua.
Hii mambo ya kuimba hapa sitaki, unasikia?
Ni kumbe bila naenda mpaka roho anasema tuimbe hivyo sababu huko ndio anaenda.
Roho amesemea wapi?
Ananisungumzia. He talks to me directly.
Wewe umemaliza mashimo.
Sijamaliza.
Usishike simu yangu bwana, umesikia?
manake mimi askari wako alipa shingapi?
I'm not going, I'm here to stay. You leave this house. Hauna shughuli zingine za kufanya? I am a man of few words.
Kisha nikome.
Beno.
Mimi.
Yes, you go.
Na mke mwingine maika naye huyu. Nenda polisi lakini.
Una kilo mchana.
Heshima unipi maika.
Pafu sana.
You don't think I know what you guys are doing?
Tiffany, you need to chill.
I am not stupid.
Simatanga iliisha. Sasa mnafaa kurudi kwa familia zenu.
Wewe nilisikia unaishi Uganda. Unafanya nini Kenya?
You can come to me with anything, and I mean anything. You and I should grab a drink.
I'm just trying to check on you.
Is that part of your daily?
Don't you want to drink your sorrows away? One bottle of whiskey and all your sadness, psh, We'll be gone. Are you really ready?
What do you mean?
For what's coming your way?
What were you two gossiping about? I don't trust anyone. No, what? You're all liars.
You see, we have spent the last how many minutes, almost 15 minutes, discussing the state of cooperatives in Kenya and the future, and of course the challenges and the upcoming World Cooperative Day. We have been in the company of Daniel Marube. He's the chairman of Cooperatives Alliance of Kenya. Before we wind up, Mr. Marube, I want to hear from you the issues of governance. They have been pretty evasive in this industry, and there have been various attempts, through regulations and policies to try and align the sector and bring on board best practices. Are these bearing any fruit?
Yes, indeed. The cooperative movement is huge. As I said, we have 28,000 registered cooperatives. But if there's one issue of bad governance in one, it spoils everything else.
Yeah.
There is a lot of good that's taking place in cooperatives. We couldn't have been number one in Africa and 7 in the world if our governance was that bad. That proves to you that we have good governance structures within the movement, but within it, because of the big numbers, we have a few cooperatives. We still
have some few
who
rotten
have
apples.
spoiled the name. And these ones are known, where people came in the form of investment cooperatives.
Yeah.
They said, people, we come, we buy land, we have land here, we want to build houses for you. And 1 or 2 people messed up, and we know them. I want to assure the Kenyan people this morning, once again, that we have proper structures. Cooperatives and the circles in Kenya are very stable. Your money in our circles is as safe as being in any commercial bank. We have a regulator called SASRA. SASRA has been given the mandate to ensure that every saving, the money that a farmer or a members put in their circle or a cooperative society is safe. That commitment needs to be put there. Number 2, yes, we have those a few pockets where governance has been an issue, especially at the lower end, at the primary cooperatives where the coffee is being aggregated. And we are saying that the county government, through devolution, have been given the mandate to supervise the elections at the primary cooperatives. They have been given the mandate to audit their books regularly. They have the mandate to do snap checks. All right, and to pick complaints from the farmers so that we can be able to solve the problems before it escalates to become a big issue. Number 2, we are taking training seriously. That as soon as the leaders have been elected into the office of the leadership of the cooperative society, they need to undergo a certain training, so that they understand what leadership means in the cooperatives. Number 3, we already have a bill that has gone through public participation in the country. It is now in the cabinet. I'm told it's due soon going to Parliament. This bill is addressing the gaps that we have seen in the governance. Number 1, it provides for women and youth inclusion in leadership. That can be able to bring in succession planning. Number 2, it is very punitive and very specific to anybody who will misappropriate the funds or steal money from the circle or from the cooperative society. What would happen? In the past, we have been surcharging, and the maximum was 200,000. So you do whatever, you steal 4 million, you disappear, you are charged by 200 to a maximum of 200,000, and then you are set free. But now we are saying we will not surcharge you. You will be charged as a criminal, and we will pursue you to recover the money. So that is a plus that we have put in our structures, and we hope that will be a deterrent, that you cannot run away. We come to you, we look for your property. We have already signed agreements with asset recoveries. We will recover your assets. That will give confidence to the leadership. So if anybody was trying to look for leadership in cooperatives with the view to steal, this time it will not be allowed. So we have given the mandate. There's more mandate given on that particular area. Number two, then we have put in structures through the county governments that we can be able to detect the problem before it becomes a big problem.
Very good.
So that bill is good bill. We are looking forward to it. Once it's implemented, it's going to address on that. And number two, we are not going to do manual works. We want to make sure that we have computerized, we have digitized most of the operations in the organizations, in our circles and cooperatives, so that it's more open, it's more transparent, it's more traceable. Any transactions we are doing, it's traceable, and that the budgets are adhered to. That once the budgets have been made at the AGM or an ADM, they are adhered to and they are auditable.
Very good. Daniel, thank you very much indeed for joining us this morning and for helping us understand what's happening within the cooperative movement. And of course, we'll keep on having this kind of conversations so that we ensure we drive the growth of cooperatives in Kenya.
Thank you very much, and I welcome you. I hope to see you all on Saturday at KICC by 8 o'clock, seated to see and enjoy what the cooperative movement has been able to do and transform the lives of thousands of Kenyans.
Very good. Asante sana.
Thank you.
Enjoy your morning.
Same to you, sir.
Daniel Marube is the chairperson of the Cooperatives Alliance of Kenya, joining us this morning to put into perspective the issues facing the cooperative movement in Kenya, the past and the present, as well as the future. You have heard it from him. Our next conversation is coming up next. We are looking at the fight against counterfeit. And to try and put this into perspective, Kenya is losing more than 100 billion shillings to counterfeiters, and globally, more than $2.2 trillion actually is lost through illicit trade. And so the question is, how do you curb the trade in illicit trade? Well, my name is O'Brien Kimani. Stay right here. We are back shortly.
상대가 약해져야 우리가 원하는 정보를 얻을 수 있거든요.
그런 큰 뜻이 있는 줄 몰랐습니다. 와, 정말 큰일 하셨습니다, 신부님.
아유, 큰일은 무슨. 큰일 날 뻔하셨어요.
누구 마음이긴 내 마음이지, 내가 여기 서장이야.
아, 잠깐만. 위에서 뭐라고 말씀하시는 것 같아서. 우리는 선물.
Bosuna mama kujifungia chumbani kwake, mkajisahau mkalala mnavyojisikia nyinyi.
Siwezi, okay? Siwezi kuishi na yeye nikiwa najua nilichokifanya, na sitasema kwamba mlinisaidia wala mlihusika kwa lolote lile.
This woman will fry us alive.
Lakini wewe huhusiki chochote katika uamuzi wa hii kampuni na pesa zake.
Sina budi kumwamini, tuna kazi zangu za pale ofisi, lakini moyo wangu una amani.
Don't cry, Eugenia. Your son is alive. Alvaro didn't die. And he's so much closer than you imagine. And soon you'll be together again, I promise you that.
Just why do you worry so much about me, huh? I was a good friend of your mother's. And Your age is about the age of my son.
Amparo, that it's better to just file a divorce case.
Because this man and I have something to fix now. Yes, I want to talk to you too.
Matakan, no, don't do this.
Get out of my way, you little brat. Hey. If you don't move...
Or what? What will you do, Matakan? You hurt children too?
Las Bandidas.
لاجل ما يحقق احلام ليله السفر قعدنا نتكلم بالساعات قالوا لي بص قدامك ما تبصش للي فات
mini Allah uwe na imani ngine falyastajibu li na wewe pia umuitikie Mwenyezi Mungu. Kumuitikia Mungu ni vipi? Ni wewe utende matendo mema aliyokuamrisha Allah na uache haramu. Isiwe unaomba dua kumbe unakula chakula cha haramu.
Baadhi ya masharti haya ni kama kumcha Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, kuepukana na makatazo ya Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala na kumtegemea yeye peke yake, kumpwekesha katika ibada zako zote.
Welcome back. You're watching Biz Check. We're live from Broadcasting House, and in the next 45 minutes, our conversation will revolve around the fight against counterfeit and what Kenya is doing in collaboration with other international as well as regional bodies to deal with counterfeit and illicit trade. And Kenya is one of the few countries in Africa that have created a legislation that deals with counterfeit as well as illicit trade. And there is a whole body whose mandate is purely that. This is Anti-Counterfeit Agency. The Deputy Director of Education and Public Awareness, this is Agnes Karingo. She is joining us this morning to help us understand where we are in the fight against counterfeit. Agnes Karingo, thank you very much indeed for your time. Give us a brief on the situation on the ground in terms of counterfeit and illicit goods.
Thank you very much. Let me begin by talking about the Anti-Counterfeit Authority. We are now an authority. We started as an Anti-Counterfeit Agency, but we are now an authority by an Act of Parliament. And this is because of the wider mandate that we got a few years ago. That was in 2021. The mandate of fighting the counterfeits from source, which was there but strengthened by this particular amendment. The Anti-Counterfeit Authority, as you've correctly said, is the one that is mandated with fighting counterfeits in the country. And of course, because intellectual property, which is the one that relates to counterfeiting, is not only an issue of Kenya. We have a lot of goods coming in from out there. And therefore, we also have the mandate of collaboration. Basically, the mandate of agency of the Anti-Counterfeit Authority being to enforce the intellectual property that has been protected here in Kenya and also globally within the provisions of which Kenya is a member. And therefore, we fight counterfeits not only of the products that are made here in Kenya, but also those that come in and are protected, like I've said, within the provisions. As I talk about the situation, let me first demystify counterfeiting, because we've realized when you talk about intellectual property, protection is by Kenya Industrial Property Institute here in Kenya, and then Anti-Counterfeit Authority is the one enforcing. A bit of confusion comes in. So when we're talking of counterfeiting, we're actually talking of infringement of brands. It all begins with a brand owner, a manufacturer who has come up with a brand, given it a trade name, put all the trademarks that are necessary on their, as they package, as they bring out the brand into the market. And when you get somebody taking that brand and claiming it to be their own, coming up with their own products, but using the brand names, using the trademarks that have been put on the original one, then that is what counterfeiting is all about. It's all about, we actually say in very simple terms that counterfeiting is theft. only that it is not theft of tangible products, but it is theft of intellectual property. So the Anti-Counterfeit Authority therefore is mandated to undertake surveillance, for example, so that we go into the market and just run our checks. Who is putting what kind of product in the market? And for us to enable us undertake this and have the confidence that when we find a product, then you're able to comfortably say this is a counterfeit or this is genuine. These brand owners, we work very closely with them. They train us on how to differentiate their products from counterfeits. And of course, as they train, there are those trade secrets that you cannot go revealing all the time. And I'm saying this because we've gotten this question by consumers. How do we differentiate? So we're able to give a few tips on differentiating, but there's some details that you cannot go into because then you're also getting into people's trade names. But as government officers, we are trained. Of course, we uphold a lot of integrity in that so that we are not exposing, we are not using the information that we have gotten in our line of duty to also cause any business wars. So with the brand owners, once they have trained us, then we're able to go out there. And when on what we call suo moto, when we are out there on our own and we get suspicious, we will always reach out to these brand owners because they are the owners of their rights. And that is why we say intellectual property is actually an individual right. So we reach out to them and we are able to, once we confirm for sure it's a counterfeit, then we'll seize the goods. And before we proceed to another step, we undertake further investigations. What makes it a counterfeit? Why is it not genuine? What kind of outlet was it in? What is the marketing channel? And from there, then we are able to take these goods, the counterfeiter, the suspected counterfeiter, to court. And the case is processed, and in most of the cases, more often than not, you find that the court will actually determine the counterfeits, and we are instructed on how to dispose of these counterfeit products.
And I know the challenge has always been taking counterfeiters through the judicial process up to conviction. And I know you have been working with the Kenyan judiciary to try and expedite cases on counterfeit. Do you want to give us an update on where you are in terms of this?
Yes, I would say that we've gotten some convictions so far, and the convictions that we get because of the effects of counterfeit going back into the market, we are actually instructed to dispose by incineration most of the times, or denaturing, depending on the kind of products we are dealing with. Let me say that recently, there before, we would actually prosecute our own cases, and with time that changed a bit, and therefore now we are also working very closely with the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, and the prosecutors therein are the ones that are now running with our cases, and therefore that brings in even a further collaboration, not only with the judiciary but also with the ODPP's office.
Has this made the process simpler and more watertight?
Of course, every change has its pros and cons, and therefore maybe not simpler, but watertight, because now we get to come in from different directions. We have our own internal prosecutors who will prepare the case, and then we have the prosecutors now from the ODPP who will go to prosecution. However, it is our hope that the delegated responsibility would still come back to ACA with time, so that we make it shorter and simpler. But something else that has been provided for within the Act, the latest amendments of 2021, is that we have the compounding. And compounding, which was there, but we hadn't gazetted the regulations, and now they have been gazetted, And when I talk of compounding, we're talking of as an alternate dispute resolution form of addressing the infringement of counterfeits, but in this case with the powers being upon the executive director of the Anti-Counterfeit Authority. The same kind of fines that would have been preferred by the court system, the executive director has been given the power to also put the same on the counterfeiters, and of course with the collaboration also with the the judiciary, the prosecutions, we are able to come up with the right fines, and so it makes it much shorter, much simpler. And we are looking forward to really implementing this, because we haven't quite implemented it for a long time. So we are looking forward to the manufacturers, these brand owners cooperating with us, so that instead of the cases now going to court, then we can come to the compounding. And that makes the process much easier and simpler. One thing that has to be there with the compounding is that the counterfeiter, the suspected counterfeiter, must accept that there is a counterfeiting action, and therefore, and that they are also willing to take up whatever fines are preferred on them, and to also state that whatever the outcome, they are also ready to forego the goods and have them disposed in the manner that the executive director would be guiding. So because of this, you find that not many suspects would want to go that way, because they still maybe would think that if they don't accept, they would still stand a chance in the court system. But definitely it's a good option that we're looking at.
Yes. The issue of compounding. I also want to hear from this. One of the biggest challenges that has faced ACA in the fight against counterfeit in the past has always been lack of enforcement officers, the low number of enforcement officers and the low number of prosecutors. Are there being efforts that are being made to try and boost the numbers of enforcement as well as prosecuting officers?
Yes, we are working on that, and not only in increasing the number, but also increasing the scope. Where are we located? Like currently, I would say we have continued to expand, because the numbers may be there, but if you're not out there, then the numbers may not be very useful. And therefore, what we have done is that we have opened offices. Every other day we are working on it. Currently, I would say we are here in Nairobi, we are in Mombasa, we are in Eldoret, we are in all the border points, particularly the major ones, except Kilindini Port, where because of the processes of clearance and all that, the government, we were asked to work in collaboration with the main agencies that are there, like the Kenya Bureau of Standards, the KRA. But in all the other entry points, we are there. And very recently, we have started a process of opening an office in the Mount Kenya region, a region that we have not been at. And very soon, that office in Nyeri will be operational. And that's an office that will be serving the entire Mount Kenya region, and of course supporting all the other offices. In terms of the numbers of the inspectors, we continue to increase. We have not yet reached our capacity, but let me say that right now we should have we are at about a total of 150, but our capacity is over 300. So we are still working on that to double the number. But there are also ways of strengthening the enforcement that we have brought in. Not in terms of numbers, but in terms of digitizing, in terms of being proactive, so that instead of the many numbers of enforcement officers being out there in the field, then we are able to work from where we are, a more effective way of doing it. And let me mention that since January this year, we have implemented what is called recordation. And this is a program that we have introduced so that, for one, the intellectual property rights owners, the ones that I have said in the Mwananchi language, is the brand owner. They are able to put into our system a description of their brands. And once they do that, whether they are based here in Kenya or elsewhere, anti-counterfeit, this is an online system.
Yeah.
And the brand owners are able to access this online system from wherever they are. And therefore, once they have given us the information, it creates a database for us as anti-counterfeit authority. And therefore, instead of this enforcement officer going out to look for the brand owner, how do you differentiate, then you're able to get it at just a click of a button. And then the other thing that we have also done is that still within the recordation program, there is what we call the import module. And this import module is based on the fact that most of the counterfeit goods in Kenya are actually imports. There has been a lot of that, more than 80% is actually from outside of Kenya.
80% of all counterfeited products?
80% of all counterfeited products, all coming from outside.
Which is the most counterfeited product?
The most counterfeited is quite a list. Like electronics, quite a bit. I think Kenya has really embraced the use of electronics, and therefore there's quite a bit of that.
Mobile phones?
Mobile phones, a lot of that. We have found it, but I'm happy to also note that this has actually reduced in a big way, because the Anti-Counterfeit Authority, and of course working with the agents of the various mobile phones or even the owners, we have been able to cap that.
Even sorry for stepping on your shoes, but you continue.
No worries.
And I have also seen, a lot of complaints, and especially around the alcohol market, whereby I'm hearing a lot of people saying that a lot of, the alcoholic drinks that are being sold in the Kenyan market, are not genuine, they are counterfeit, and more so, the high-end whiskeys, rums, and all these. Are you aware of these as well?
Yes, we are. And because of that, we are normally part of what we call the multi-agency initiatives in fighting the illicit alcohol, because more often than not, you'll find these illicit brews will actually come in, they are counterfeits, they are substandard. It's a whole lot of issues put together. They're not even paying taxes. So we work very, very closely with these others. And for sure, yes, there is quite a bit of counterfeiting on alcohol, both domestic and imports. And like you've correctly put it, most of it is actually the high end. And we've realized that what some of the counterfeiters are doing is that once you consume your little bottle of whiskey or whatever it is, the counterfeiters will come in and will pick these bottles. Don't forget, most of the consumers will actually finish with a bottle, cork it up nicely, and throw it into the bin. And the counterfeiters will come in, pick this, and they go and fill it up with whatever substance that they want to put. There is, of course, the penetration of the market also from the manufacturers of the packaging material. And you find the big counterfeiters now will maximize on that. They will get the packaging material, and they're able to package their own. And so they'll bring it into the market. But I would comfortably say that we are working very, very closely with the
for
brand
example,
owners.
Now on the issue of counterfeited high-end whiskey brand or whatever you call it, how would I be able to know that this whiskey is not genuine? Honestly.
Like I've said, not easy for a consumer, but I just want to assure you that the Anti-Counterfeit Authority and working together with the brand owners, the surveillance that we are undertaking would give you confidence that you're not likely to purchase that counterfeit product from wherever you are. But there's something that we always tell consumers, that it's good to look out for, we call it the 4 Ps. Because if for sure you know your product, you know the product you prefer, there's a certain reason why you would prefer to take a certain brand of whiskey and not the other. Maybe the taste, maybe the feel as you serve, or there's all that comes to the consumer preference. And therefore we ask consumers, get to know your product well. If you pick that bottle and you feel there is some engraving that you're not used to on the bottle, ask yourself, what is this? So before you pour it in, check on the packaging material.
That is the second P.
That is the second P, the packaging. Check on
so the first is product?
The first is the product.
Then packaging.
Then check on the packaging. And then ask yourself, where am I buying it? Is it possible that the outlet, like of course there are some things you wouldn't expect to find in the streets or in some of those, you know, so also the outlet, that is the third P, the place. Where are you buying it? Is it a place where they would comfortably give you a receipt if it deserves to get one? Is it a place where you come back to, you would feel comfortable talking to them about a product that you are not happy with? And then the last P is about the price. Because the price is being exploited so much by the counterfeiters, and you'll find a brand that you're used to buying at a certain amount. If it's going for half price, then surely there must be something about that drink or where you're buying it. If they have gone through the entire process of manufacture, of you know, acquiring it, have put in all the tax you know, provisions, then even if they were to undercut, it wouldn't be at half price, not even a third. And therefore, those are the 4 Ps that we keep telling consumers, not just for alcohol, but even for all these other products.
And let's talk about the price, because I know this is where you know, people are getting tricked, where, for example, you find a retailer selling a product at half the price of the prevailing market price, and in most cases they do these through promotions or through the buy one get one free concept, and so in terms of price, then that becomes very hard to suspect, and this is where now, you know, ACA comes into force with you know, other enforcement agencies like the Kenya Police, amongst others. So what are you doing to ensure that even as companies, you know, roll out competitions and offers and all these, they're not doing this on counterfeited products?
You know, for the genuine manufacturers and brand owners, the promotions are actually part of marketing. And therefore, for them to offer that buy one, get one free, or do this and you get this, it's a marketing strategy. And therefore, they will have put in whatever resources to ensure that they're not going at a loss. And more often than not, the genuine brand owners will actually advertise and tell you, yes, come to this place and you'll get this for this. It is very, very rare, if at all, that a counterfeiter would be that bold to even, you know, advertise, market a brand that belongs to somebody else. And therefore, I would want to just assure Kenyans, the consumers, that when you see this kind of promotions, we haven't had a case at all where counterfeiters are the ones coming out and putting out these promotions. With the genuine brand owners, you find that there are times maybe they realize they have too much of product, and instead of that product maybe running out on their valid lifetime, then it's better off passed on to their consumers, or they are introducing a new product. And therefore, there are different reasons why the genuine brand owners will do this. But for a counterfeiter, they don't love the consumer at all to even want to give anything for free. They want everything for themselves. And because you've talked about the police and how we work together with them, let me say that the Anti-Counterfeit Act has a whole section on collaborations. And we have what we call the designated inspectors. We continually reach out to these designated inspectors, the various institutions, so that even if our presence is not there at the grassroots, for example, right there in the village, like during the planting season, or right now we have crop in the field, there is a lot of chemicals being used. So we reach out so that the police officers, the other officers down there, in case they get information, then we are able to liaise together. And this is one of the reasons why part of our mandate is to come up with training programs for these collaborating officers, come up with training programs for those that would work for Anti-Counterfeit Authority and of course for the good of the country. And Brian, I would still want to go back to the imports because the imports are the ones that have really been used, pushed to the consumers and with a lot of health and safety issues. And of course, the fact that these imports are also brought by Kenyans. Yeah. Some of them very legit business people. Others will bring in knowing, yes, I'm doing this at my own risk. For the sake of those that bring in counterfeits without knowing, because we have had the outcry. And of course, we want also business to thrive in Kenya. We are there as facilitators. So this import module that I had started talking about enables an importer out there to key in, again, in a system where you put in even a photo of what you intend to import. And within a short time, ACA will respond. That looks a suspect counterfeit. They'll be able to respond. That one is a genuine process. Through the recordation process, but the import module. We have two modules. We have the IPR owners modules. That's the one that uploads information on the genuine products. Then the import module, the importer is the one who uploads. They can even upload information on intent to import. So they register what they intend to import and also upload a photo. So the Anti-Counterfeit Authority, and using the database that we have from the IPR owners module, using the information that we have had from the product knowledge trainings, they'll quickly tell them, this one is at your own risk. So when you're told it's at your own risk, then definitely you will not want to bring. Very good. Because if you bring, then for sure, if it's a counterfeit, Anti-Counterfeit Authority will seize. Very well. And where we are not very sure, we'll tell them, this one is produced by so-and-so. Please reach out for further information. So we are able to advise on that. Yes, thank you.
Well, if you're just joining us, we are in the company of Agnes Karingo. She's Deputy Director, Education and Public Awareness at the Anti-Counterfeit Authority. She's joining us this morning to help us understand where Kenya is in the fight against counterfeit. Our conversation will continue, but for now, we want to go to Upper Hill, where the Kenya Health Union Caucus is having a briefing on the state of healthcare in Kenya. The chairman is on the podium. Let's listen in.
Public hospitals, because the Ministry of Health and the counties have decided that the only way they would be responsive is when we down our tools, and we will gladly give them what they're asking for. Let me invite the GS to read the statement on our behalf, and then we'll have the other officials to give their remarks. Thank you, Chair. Let's give them a few minutes, they join. Thank you. On? Okay. Thank you. My name is George Gibore. I'm the General Secretary, Kenya Union of Clinical Officers. And I'm going to read the press statement on behalf of the many unions represented here. That is the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers, the Kenya National Union of Nurses, the Kenya Medical Laboratory and Technician. And we have also the NUBEC, the Kenya Health Professional Society, among others. So this is the statement by a joint statement by the said union, and we'll be touching on 4 issues. That is prioritization of health, increase in NHIF contribution, employment of health workers, and also the impending strike. Ladies and gentlemen, every citizen has a responsibility to ensure that every good governance, integrity, and accountability are upheld. It is also the responsibility of the union to ensure that labor rights of its members are respected and upheld. The first issue is on prioritization of health. We have noted with the concern that the budget for health has been reduced by 5.6 billion, even as Kenyans are subjected to increased taxation. This means that our collection to health remains below the ideal of 15% as agreed under the Abja Declaration. Increase in taxation should be accompanied, or rather should go in tandem with the better service delivery, something that we expected to see in the 2023-2024 budget. This puts into question the prioritization of the health and the commitment by the current administration to fully implement the universal health coverage. The second issue is on increase of the NHF contribution, and we are saying that the National Hospital Insurance Fund has expressed its desire to increase monthly contribution to 2.7% of the gross salary. What has not been addressed is how the enhancement will better services delivery to Kenyans. Many Kenyans have challenges using NHF cards to access health services against the background of corruption scandals and scandal bedeviling the institution, which have not been addressed by the institution. The NHF must explain to Kenyan how the enhancement of contribution will enable them access quality services without suffering catastrophic financial harm. On employment of more healthcare workers, it is in no doubt that accessibility to health services has worsened, especially in the public health sector, which is unable to meet the health demand of the Kenyan, which is in its growing population. Lack of adequate staffing of health staff or of health professional in the right mix ranks high among the myriad of challenges contributing to health system failure in our country. It is unfortunate that this country has, in the last 6 decades, failed to establish a framework that will ensure commensurate staffing of health workers with the population growth. We have also seen an unfortunate development in Nakuru County, where health workers are being left off.
Well, that is the Kenya Health Caucus who are having a press briefing in Upper Hill to update the country on the status of the health in Kenya, as well as delayed payments and their planned industrial action. So we'll be giving you more information about that. But we are back in studio. We are having this conversation about the Anti-Counterfeit Authority and the measures that they have put in place to deal with the issue of counterfeit. And statistically speaking, we know that 1 in 5 goods in Kenya is counterfeited, and that is a big challenge. The country is losing more than 100 billion shillings to counterfeiters, and so it is proper to say that the ACA has its work cut out to ensure that Kenya becomes a counterfeit-free society. Let's now talk about the symposium that you held the other day to try and upscale the fight against counterfeit. Give us more update on what happened and the agreement that was reached there.
Yes, for sure. We had this international symposium on intellectual property protection and enforcement, the first one of its kind in Kenya. And why is it the first one? For one, it was solely organized within the country by Anti-Counterfeit Authority, taking lead, but of course in collaboration with the partners globally. And we are happy to note that it was a very successful 3 days activity. And why we feel it was successful is because of the kind of information exchange that we got therein, the kind of participation we got globally. Before I talk about the outcomes, let me just appreciate once again those that worked with us, those that participated, those that submitted papers to enable support this particular symposium. Notable being the Attorney General's Alliance Africa program, and of course the name talks for itself. These are people who have dealt with cases and cases of counterfeiting in their own countries, and therefore they brought in a lot of knowledge, a lot of experiences into the symposium. And of course also working hand in hand with the World Intellectual Property Organization. And locally we had CAM, we had KEPSA, and we had all these people coming in, the government institutions, and it was really a great conversation. One of ours was to reach out to all out there and talk about counterfeiting, and I'm happy to note that yes, we did. We had a lot of participants both at the Bomas of Kenya, where we held this forum, and also online. And I'm happy to note we were very, very happy to even have students from the various universities, because these are the people who really need to get into the space of fighting or having an enabling environment without counterfeits. Then it is a symposium that really brought a lot of best practices from out there, particularly on enforcement, and there was a lot of information exchange on that. And I'm happy to know that one of the outcomes, or one of the areas of recommendations, is that we need to work more and more in partnership with others, and particularly as government agencies. And therefore, one of the things that we'll be doing after this is to reach out to the various government agencies, the business associations, and see how best we can structure the fight on counterfeit products. Immediately after the forum, after the symposium, we had the creative industry reaching out. And remember, creative industry is one of the bottom-up, Kenya Kwanza government, our government, that a sector that really the government wants to emphasize on. And therefore, they reached out, and yes, they feel they have been fighting copywriting with Kenya Copyright Board, but there is more to it in the creative industry over and above the copywriting. So we held this meeting with the CAMP, the Kenya Association of Music Producers, the Performance Association, and the MCSK, and we had great deliberations. And what was it about? All about how do we fight counterfeiting within the creative industry, not just on the copyright issues, but we use all these other forms of equipment, all these other forms of input, yet can be counterfeited and therefore compromise the entire output. So we are very happy that people are coming out, businesses are coming out. Also very notable is Kenya Association of Manufacturers. We have been working together all along. Actually, right from inception, they have been part of the board membership. But this time round, they came out in a different way. And we held this meeting immediately after the symposium. We see the other ways that we can work together to protect our manufacturers, to ensure that enforcement of the intellectual property is enhanced within the country. And therefore, just from those two instances, we can actually say that we are looking forward to really great outcomes, not just from the reporting, but also in strategies that we're going to formulate. Like I've said, we also had engaged quite a number of learning institutions and research institutions. And what we realized before the symposium is that there was so much research that was being undertaken in the country and even globally. But are we getting to have the recommendations from this research? Very little of it. Maybe just that which is done within the Anti-Counterfeit Authority. And we had all these papers being presented, and with a lot of very rich information. So one of the things that we agreed on from that conference is that we're going to be organizing more conferences specifically for presentation of research papers, so that we are able to pick from the researchers what are these practical recommendations we can pick up and formulate into strategies, formulate into policy issues that we can push through the ministry or work through the ministry so that they can become part of our policy. And of course, as we continue to collaborate with others. And let me just mention that one of the presenters was the Scotch Whisky Association. And this comes from the discussion that we had there before about alcohol. And we are still waiting for a presentation that they'll be giving us to us as Anti-Counterfeit Authority.
The Scotch Association.
The Scotch, yes.
There's even an association.
There is an association, of course not based in Kenya, but we talked about the importation of alcohol and the hired brands. And therefore, and of course we have some of them also being manufactured under license. And there's quite a bit. There's a lot that they promise they'll be getting back to us. We'll be reaching out to that. We learn from them. What is this they're doing out there?
Very well.
Yes.
And of course, we'll be having a lot of conversations with you going forward so that we can just know how some of these proposals are being adopted into the fight against counterfeit. Before we let you go, the deadline for the registration or for the registration of recordation was supposed to be January this year. Have you registered any success with this?
A lot of success. And what we realized was that when we give the deadlines, of course, when you give deadlines, some people will rush, some people will want to go to court, some people will do this and they want to fight the system. So we have requested that we continue to register through the recordation, that is the intellectual property rights of the various, either locally or from out there. So we continue to register, and therefore, in terms of the deadlines, a bit lenient on that, so that we can bring in as much information, as much of database from the intellectual property rights owners as much as possible. But on the other side of it, the import module, for the HS codes that we have picked, HS codes will bring in different products. And therefore, for those that we have started with, I would say it is going very well.
Success.
Great
and
success.
And of course, the fight against counterfeit product is not complete without the involvement of critical stakeholders like manufacturers and consumers. And you have enumerated the strategies that you're using, to bring manufacturers on board. What about for the consumers? How are you empowering the consumers to, number one, report counterfeiters and counterfeited goods, and number two, to identify and flag counterfeited products?
Thank you. And let me say, it's not just from the Anti-Counterfeit Authority that the consumer issue is being handled. After the passing of the Act for the Consumer Protection, the Anti-Counterfeit Act was also amended. There before, a consumer, according to the Act, could not just walk into Anti-Counterfeit Authority and lay a complaint. But now we are able to receive that either through they come to the office, phone calls, on social media. We pick up a lot of complaints from the consumers, and when we do, of course, as a consumer, you may not know exactly the kind, whether it's a counterfeit or not. But when we receive these consumer complaints, we pick them up and we conduct our own investigations. We reach out to the brand owners, and yes, we have had a number of cases where have led into seizures and cases now being prosecuted or even just being taken through the process of resolving them. Emanating from the consumers. One other thing that we are doing is that we continue to create awareness, and we reach out in the best ways possible within our means, within our resources. And I would say one of the ways that we have continued to create awareness is appearing in whatever public forums that we are able to do. We participate a lot in the ASK shows. When we are able to get an opportunity like this one, we talk to the consumers and tell them, beware, the counterfeits are not just cheap. That you know, they're good. You feel it's good for your pocket, but it may be good for your pocket today. What does it do to you for tomorrow? It has lots of effects: health, your safety, name it. So we also keep telling consumers to really beware on that.
Anonymous platforms where, you know, the public can report these issues without really saying my name is who and who, or without being unmasked.
Yes, we do allow for that, but of course we want to. We would always want to request if one is willing to give their identity, so that in case we need more information, then we are able to reach out to them. But I would say, like I've mentioned about the phone calls, yes, we do get phone calls, and somebody will just say, I am in such a place, or I'm giving you information on such and such a place. I am not ready to give my details. And we take that. Of course, if somebody is giving...
have like some sort of a short code?
The short code, we are working on it. We are working on it, and with the new, we just launched a strategic plan, a new strategic plan early this year. So with this particular strategic plan, that is one of our immediate strategies of reaching out to the consumers, where they are able to send messages and really reach us at even getting a hotline that the cost is on us. So we are working on that.
Very good.
But one other thing that we have done about the consumers and our stakeholders in general is that in the training and creating of awareness programs, we have now come up with a training curriculum that will be launching very soon. And this training curriculum is audience packaged. It is specialized for different stakeholders. So we have one that fits the brand owners. We have one that fits the consumers. And the consumers, it will be free for some time, and particularly when we are doing it online. So I would tell our consumers out there that yes, we have this coming up, and once we have launched these training programs, we shall be reaching out so that you actually join and become part of the training, so that you get more and more information. Yes.
Very good. Agnes,
and maybe I could add that one of the things that we do is when we reach out to the opinion leaders, the agents down there, your assistant county commissioners, the police on the ground. So they are also able to continually reach to the consumers through the learning institutions, not just for them as prospective business, but also as change agents among their peers and within their social settings.
Very good. Agnes, it's 2 minutes past 12. We come to the end of this conversation. Otherwise, thank you very much for finding time to be with us and for sharing that information with us.
Thank you.
The time is highly appreciated.
And thank you for hosting me.
Very good. Agnes Karingo is the Deputy Director, Education and Public Awareness at the Anti-Counterfeit Authority, joining us here on BizCheck, just to give us a sneak preview of where we are in terms of fight against counterfeit. And of course, you have heard it from him. From her. Just remember that counterfeit is an economic crime. It is also a health crime, because when you have substandard goods, circulating in our market, then they pose a health challenge as well as an economic challenge. And so, as a responsible citizen, it behoves us to ensure that we flag out any counterfeit product or any product that you suspect is not genuine, and Agnes has given us the numbers to do so, or even the police officers. You can record these to the nearest police station, and of course action will be taken. Well, we've come to the end of BizCheck this morning. Thank you very much for your time. It's now 3 minutes past 12 o'clock, and I can see Gladys Mungai is in studio ready for Kurunzi Mashinani, and thereafter we shall be having our lunchtime bulletin. My name is O'Brien Kimani. Thank you for your time. Have a good afternoon.
hayawi hatimaye huwa kombe la Mozart Bet litafikia kileleni Jumamosi hii ya Julai 1. Timu mbili zilizofuzu kwenye fainali zikiwania tiketi ya kuwakilisha Kenya